Hey pod people, you're listening to the Builders Board podcast. I'm your host, Tom Houghton, and joining me today on our episode is Tyler Stouder. Tyler Stouder currently leads the marketing, technology, and customer experience team at BIMaire for home builders at the Clayton Properties Group. With a marketing agency background, his career expands over several industries, including banking, healthcare, finance, and now new home construction. Tyler has emerged as a go-to about customer engagement, marketing technology, and customer relationship management, or CRM. He's a member of Pro Builders 40 Under 40 class of 2022. Today, we'll be talking with Tyler about all things CRM. Tyler, welcome to the Builders Board podcast.
Tom, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to be here and just talk CRM.
I'm super excited as well. It's so important. But before we dive in to all things CRM, let's define it for our audience just to make sure everybody understands and knows what we're talking about for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, so CRM, not conflict resolution management, right?
Right.
That's a different type of CRM.
Yeah.
So CRM, what we like to define it as, it's customer relationship management.
Yep.
So it's the process and it's the software that does that.
It's good. It's good. So we're going to talk about software today. We're going to talk about technology, but we're also and mainly going to focus around managing this relationship with your customers. It's extremely important for your business. So Tyler, in your experience, what's the why behind doing this?
Yeah, the why behind a CRM, right? It's mainly to store and manage all data of any kind, from contacts to purchases to, since we're in home building, right? It's warranty, customer care requests. It's storing all that in one centralized location. Yeah.
It's nice to have all that data in one place so that way you can kind of track the customer journey, right?
That's right. Yep. So a good CRM really it's got your marketing functions, right? Your emails, your social media. It's organization of all contacts, even contracts. It's going to let you know what a prospect is compared to a customer, or maybe even some other partner. Sales pipeline insight to see where you're at with each one of your sales. It's efficiency. It's going to give you better time management because it's all in one centralized location. And at the end of the day, you're going to kind of impress your clients because you're going to know a little bit more about them.
That's good. Yeah. Especially, in today's day and age, everything, we can order something off of Amazon and be here in like a matter of hours, right? So everyone's got this like high expectation for customer experience. And this is one way to really improve that. In my discussions with builders and remodelers all over the country, all over the world, we've been talking about how to manage those expectations and how to manage that relationship. And a CRM is a really good tool to have in your tool belt. But I know some people, are kind of like, well, how do I fit this in? I might have like a spreadsheet that has some names and stuff. So tell me maybe some advantages over using a spreadsheet, if you don't mind.
Yeah. No, it's great. A spreadsheet is essentially a CRM, right? You're tracking data point, but that's very manual, and it's could be good if you have 100, 150 people, contacts that you're reaching out and tracking. But after you get to larger volumes, the spreadsheet method kind of just makes you want to pull your hair out.
Sure.
Right. So what's great about using software for this is it's going to track more dynamic items than an email address or a phone number or an address. A good CRM will track that complex data. So website visits, how many times are they coming to your website? Are they viewing your marketing materials? If you're sending out a weekly email or a monthly digest, right? Are they opening that email up? Are they clicking through to that? How much time they're spending on their website? What was their last purchase date? And kind of allows you to do some really cool automated things based off that more complex data that's in there.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds, I think maybe this is partly where people get a little bit overwhelmed because it can do a lot of things. It's not just marketing. It's not just kind of like lead tracking. It's kind of checking a lot of different boxes.
It is checking a lot of different boxes. CRMs wear a lot of hats. And I think that's where, to your point, it does get kind of scary because you hear these words and wow, I can do all these different things. And the best thing is like, what works for you right now? Is it just tracking your purchases, like your customers who have purchased from you? Or are you trying to track those prospects to try to get more leads? And you can go into whole different methodologies of marketing there for inbound, right? but it's baby steps approach. If you dive right in, it's like learning how to swim. It's probably not the best to just dive into the deep end right away and see if you
Right.
can, swim. You got to take your baby steps, wear the floaties for a little bit and just mainly get data into a system and just start tracking it.
It's good.
And then you can take take the floaties off a little bit, get in that deep end and really swim.
That's good. Okay, so let's start at the
Yeah.
beginning then. Let's take some baby steps here to try to make everyone feel a little more comfortable.
Right.
We're not just going to go all the way in just yet. We're going to tiptoe
Yeah.
in. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. If I'm brand new to CRM and I'm like, okay, how do I implement this in my company? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say like, who are the major players? Who are the standout options that are out there for CRM? What should I be looking for? What are your
That's right.
thoughts?
So the first thing that makes any CRM successful is, are people going to use it, right? So
that's
you
good.
could pay the expensive price tag, right, on these nice ones with all the bells and whistles. But like if you think about home building, you can buy all the equipment to build a house.
Yeah.
But if your crew's not going to build that house, then it's not really effective, right?
Yeah.
So you actually have to use those tools. And it's the same thing with any software. Same with CRM.
Yeah.
So the CRM, like the best CRM, has to get used.
Mm.
And so then as you're going through that, it's you're talking to your teams, or if you're a smaller team and you're talking to key players on what data points or what items are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Is it then easy to use, right? You could go down the line and start vetting. Well, does it integrate with my other systems that I have? Am I using MailChimp? Am I using a Constant Contact for email marketing? Am I using project management tools like Novi or Capterra, right? So it's like, can it integrate? Price comes into play.
Sure.
So does it fit my price budget? So it's kind of like doing anything. You kind of got to vet the software. You got to vet what you're trying to accomplish before you then jump into the pool. So
yeah.
But there's many options. Yeah, there's lots of options out there to explore.
And it probably kind of depends on where you're at too. Would you recommend? I mean, like, because if you're a small outfit and you're doing, maybe, I don't know, under 2 million a year, what are you thinking? Are you thinking that they need to go kind of like all the way in on this, or could they use something that's kind of in the middle? Do they end up just still using spreadsheets? I mean, like you said, obviously spreadsheets are great to a point, but we would hope that you're generating more leads and being able to track those efficiently.
Yeah, it's the basic features. It's taking a look. It's like, what am I trying to accomplish? Yes, I have my spreadsheet and I've got all my names in there of like potential guys who've reached out to me on the website or called my tracking phone number or XYZ. It's looking at that data and seeing like, what's the next step? How do I get these people to convert to a sale? That's a good idea. That's a good, good. I need a CRM at this point.
Sure.
Right. So looking into that and knowing, okay, I want to reach out to these people. How am I going to do that? Where am I going to put this data in?
Yep.
Who all has access to it? Are kind of those first questions that you need to ask. Price point, I mean, we can go from free all the way up to, thousands of dollars, right?
Sure.
So I think the very first step is just to examine internally, what am I trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Is it getting new leads, or is it reaching out to the leads I already have?
Okay. Everyone loves free. You kind of get what you pay for though. So I know I'm putting you on the spot, so it's okay if you don't have one. Any kind of like, hey, this is a good free option to start with, or here's a couple names to potentially consider.
Yeah, so I gotta say, I'm doing my best to give you unbiased, views
I appreciate
into
that.
CRMs.
Yeah.
I am a HubSpotter true and through.
Yeah.
HubSpot does have a lot of free tools available.
Yep.
I mean, mainly it's a free open database that you can start putting your contacts in.
Yep.
Right. So you can upload all your lists. You can do your spreadsheet if you need to. They've got great integration partners as well as their team that they can help you get started from a training and an ongoing support standpoint.
Yeah.
But they've got a lot of great free tools. There's calendar links that you could put in. Someone could schedule some time with you as you're interacting. You can start tracking very basic, sales processes, but HubSpot's a good place to start.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Yeah, HubSpot does have a lot of free features. And then all of a sudden, once you get past those free features, then I feel like it goes from free to like, oh, we're actually shelling out some money now. So
That's right.
Maybe just a good heads up that, use the free as much as you can. And then once you got that taken care of, then you can kind
That's
of move
right.
into the heavy hitter stuff.
That's right. And like I think that's the thing with HubSpot sticking on that is there is that free version. It does a really great job. It replaces that spreadsheet
Yep.
that we're talking about. So everything that you're doing in your spreadsheet, HubSpot will do it for free. And then you can kind of see what the next steps are. And then you can start getting into price tier conversations with
Yeah.
with that HubSpot.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, okay. So HubSpot might be a good place to start because if you like free, you should definitely check that out.
Yeah.
I kind of want to sell, we kind of to start at the beginning, but I kind of want to paint the picture of like,
Yeah.
what's something, let's jump to the end a little bit.
Yeah. Let's
And
do
then
it.
we'll kind of hang out in the middle somewhere just so everybody can kind of see the parameters of CRM. So if we're using HubSpot and we're using it really well, or using any CRM and we're using it really well, what's something that that you couldn't do before having a CRM that you could do, now that you have one, assuming you've joined on to this, you're
Yeah.
assuming all the listeners are totally bought in because I know they are, and they're
They're
like,
signing up,
we need,
right?
yes, I just clicked go. All right, so now what do I do? And what do I get
Yeah.
out of this?
Yeah. So what you get is what you get in a CRM that you don't get in a spreadsheet is a 360-degree view of your buyer. And when I say that, it's like you are now able to see, have they come to your website? Are they interacting with your content? So in a spreadsheet, Tyler Stouder lives on there and he's just a name with just my address and my phone number. With a CRM, Tyler Stouder now lives um, interactively. So I
Mm,
could see now that Tyler Stouder has been to our website. Oh, he opened this email we sent him. He was actually on our Facebook page too, doing something over there. He clicked back to our website. So we can start to see that engagement.
mm,
And chances are, and we live in a world where 90% of buyers already know what they're going to do before they purchase.
mm,
So being able to now to see that from the sales side to be like, okay, they've interacted with these XYZ pieces. This is probably what they're interested in. So now as those re-engagement conversations happen, either outbound or inbound, there's able to be a little bit of context to that path that buyer has taken.
yeah.
So conversations are more informed, they're more educated. The buyer feels like they're being heard and not sold to
Mm,
because we're using that information of everything they've done.
yeah.
Once you get a spreadsheet, you don't know that. You don't
Right.
see what's happening.
Right. It's not as interactive. It's not updating it. It's not using technology. We're not leveraging technology well in that
That's right.
situation in order to help like track that customer journey.
And I think that's what's a very important piece. Like we're in this digital age, right? Like we always say it, but like, my phone's right here. Your phone's probably within, guys out in the field, contractors, like phones are at their hips, right? So we're
Yeah.
all connected to this phone. So let's use software that's using that and leveraging that for our buyers as well, and
Sure.
and giving us important pieces of what they might be interested in.
Yeah. Yeah. How much of this, I'm just curious because I know I'm thinking about those guys out there listening to this right now. Guys and gals, everyone's listening.
That's right. Everyone. Yep.
We've checked the we've got our own CRM back here. We're
There you
checking the
go.
stats on who's
Everybody.
listening to the show. Uh, everybody's listening to the show. They're thinking, okay, Tom and Tyler, we're super busy. We want to do this. This seems like a big thing to like bite off and chew. Is in
That's
your
right.
opinion, is this something that you need like a team member to handle? Is this something you outsource to somebody else? What are your thoughts on that? Because this seems like so kind of let's talk about some like integration tips or implementing
That's
this
right.
CRM into your business.
Yeah. So I think the most important thing is once you get past that volume of, I would say, prospects or leads or contacts that you're engaging with, and then we realize internally that, hey, a spreadsheet is just not efficient, right? I think that's the point that CRM also solves to, is it's going to give you you're going to be more efficient to do your work because you're not fiddling around on a spreadsheet,
Yeah,
right? The system is I like to say, it's where we can set things up to make you do less work by doing having the system do more work.
sure,
So it's that whole do less or do more by doing less
right,
type thought process.
yeah,
And so to that question of can I do it internally? Absolutely. And I think that goes back to the question of your volume, your time. Um, do I hire someone else? I think that's really the conversation that needs to be looked at internally when you're vetting the CRM. Like, how deep do we want this to go? Are we just scratching the surface? Then you could probably do it yourself.
Yeah.
Do I want to get really deep down into this data and nerd out on it like I do?
Yeah.
Then you might want to reach out to, a CRM consultant, or, an agency or a partner that specializes in CRMs and customer journeys and marketing content. It's really nice because, in my view, CRMs are kind of the pick your own adventure.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to accomplish? Not every builder, and honestly, even before construction, every client that I've worked with has been so different. So each solution is so unique to their business objectives that they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. So it sounds like, obviously, again, if you're tiptoeing in and you're a small unit, you could probably kind of figure this out yourself. You just also have to know the trade-off that always exists, which is anytime you're doing this, you're trading your time now for a future return, right? You're going to invest some time in this now, but in the long term, it's going to save you some time, and it's probably going to give your customers a much better experience, right?
That's right. That's right. And I think I mentioned that earlier. You're going to have those impressed clients, right? Like, oh, wow, I reached out to Tom and Tom responded back to me right away.
Yeah.
Whereas in a CRM, or a lack of a CRM spreadsheet, you might not know that Tom called for 3 days because it's on your cell phone, and you're like, I'll call Tom back when I can get to him, right?
Right.
CRM will be able to tell us, like, hey, Tom called, and we need to respond back to him. What's great about CRMs, then, I know I'm on that, is, you could set up some automations that, calls Tom or sends Tom a text message, says, hey, Tom, got your call. We'll respond to you back when we're available. You can shoot Tom an email back. And that's where I think having the system do more by doing less.
Yeah.
That's where, like, the value comes into play.
Sure, for sure. I love talking about automations and things like that because it's something that I talk about frequently with, again, builders and remodelers all over the country they're getting leads in, and they're getting them either from phone or websites. And it's like, how are you taking that data that you're getting in, putting that into your process, and then how much of that is manual? And a lot of the response I get is like, yeah, we've got a front office person. It's their responsibility to take this data, put it into the system, and then that front office person has to email them or call them back. And it's like, what if there was a way to automate this?
Ooh,
Does it sound
imagine a world.
Does it sound too good to be true? And
It's not too good to be true. That's the thing. There are many amazing integrations for CRM, and that's one thing to think through. I'm gonna mention CallRail, right? CallRail is a tracking service. Google Voice is very similar, right? To make sure that those integrate into your CRM system is huge. So you don't have to have that front office person, manually entering in, and they put an 8 when it should have been a 9. Like, having integrations in place that automatically sync data back and forth is huge. And what's great about these integrations nowadays is, like, you don't have to be that developer to connect endpoints. These are out of the box solutions that exist for many CRMs.
I love that. That's fantastic. Okay, you've been doing this for a while. You are a guru in this space. I always like to talk to people who have done stuff like this for a while and ask them, what's something that has surprised you recently, or, in the past couple of years, something that surprised you either from your experience using it, or, like, even, obviously, because I know you're working with other builders as well, something that you've heard from them that they're like that wow moment of, like, I could not believe this piece of technology did this.
Yeah. And I go back to the 360-degree view and integration points, right? So working with a lot of builders, there's a lot of great tools out there on the website, to help out interactive floor plans, right? And color selectors to pick the color of your homes. Seeing that then sync back to the CRM to know that Tyler Stouder is interested in a specific floor plan and has selected all these, XYZ options, is a huge light bulb moment. Because you think back in the day, and it still happens, we bring out the paper floor plans and we start drawing on those. So say, hey, we could draw that punch out here. We could, add this light here. That's great, but it exists on a piece of paper that gets put in a filing cabinet, I don't know, spills coffee on, gets stumbled and tossed in the trash, right? So the cool light bulb thing is to being able to see all that data live in your CRM. So now you know what that buyer was interested in last week. If they do it again this week, and you could see their changes, you could see if we start associating price, right, to different items, you can kind of see what their budget is. It's just the whole view of that customer without having to ask some of those probing sales questions that turn so many people off.
Yeah, that's good. Especially now, the thing I keep hearing too is that leads are taking longer to close, right? Because homeowners are being a little bit more timid with the economy and everything that's going on this year. So this is one way to, again, keep a really close eye on that customer journey and find those customers who keep coming back, right? Because chances are those ones that keep coming back, there's something to that. And we should probably go be proactive with them. We could spend more time with those customers because they're showing interest in us. So we should show interest back in them.
That's right. Well, and I mean, like I said too, we're in this digital age, right? I think COVID taught us one thing, especially in this industry, is that you really don't need a physical in-person presence much anymore. People are driven by, I think back to quarantine, sitting on their phones, scrolling through home renovation projects, right? Like getting ideas off of Pinterest and Instagram, right? So like we're so connected to digital and the digital piece that like our buyer almost expects us now to know this information about them.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we're focused here on the Builders Board podcast all about action. Okay, so I want to figure out what's our action step for our listeners who are listening to this. They've heard the why. They've said, Tom and Tyler, I've got this spreadsheet. I've been rocking it for years. It seems to be working. What's their next step if they're considering, implementing a CRM?
Yeah, I think the first question that you've got to ask yourself, are you and your team actually going to use a CRM?
Ooh, that's good.
No matter how good the CRM, if it's not HubSpot, it's Salesforce, it's Lasso, right? Whatever that CRM is, if you're not going to use it, it's just going to collect dust and be worthless. So I think that's the very first, it's those internal discussions. Am I willing to change out of this spreadsheet? Am I willing to change from my notebook? Am I willing to change from my business cards and my front desk person or my wife or my husband at some point taking notes for me? Am I willing to change and go into a CRM? Is the very first question you got to ask yourself.
That's a great question to ask. That's a great question to ask yourself daily about a lot of things. This is definitely now becoming a change management podcast. But
right.
Yes. But back to CRM. Right. So you got to ask yourself if you're willing to change.
That's right. And then you have to be able to buy into that, right? So like I made a joke the other day. My wife, she's like, hey, I'm going to schedule something. What does your calendar look like? And I was like, you know what? Here's my calendar link. So like, I sent my wife my calendar link, which is, it's connected to my calendar. I'm like, you can see the open dates I have here, which would be great for you to put something on. Right. So it was kind of funny and we kind of laughed about it. But like, I'm like, at that point, I'm like, I'm bought in. Like, right. I'm speaking this language. I'm living it.
Right.
But the other thing is is it easy to use? Is it going to be complex where I'm going to have to, spend hours a day trying to figure out even how to log in? It's probably not worth it.
Yeah.
What other systems are you using? So if you're using, marketing tools, like I mentioned, there's MailChimp, there's Marketo, there's HubSpot's marketing tools. Am I using those type of tools, and can those connect? Project management tools, the co-constructs, the sapphires, am I using those, and are those able to connect?
Yeah.
I think are the main questions. And then you can start looking into pricing, the training aspects, what's ongoing support look like. But mainly it's like, am I going to use it? Is it easy enough for me to use it? And what tools does it integrate that I'm already using?
It's good.
Because you don't want to recreate the wheel if you're already using something. Well, this CRM has project management. But if you already have a great project management tool that's working, why change that? Let's try to find the CRM to fit that.
That's good. That's good. All right. Those were good action steps. Fantastic. How does this tie into, I know with your background, you've got a lot of other experience in other fields. We don't have a ton of time left to dive into this. So maybe we'll have to have you back onto the podcast, another episode here. But I want to talk really quickly about kind of continuing that customer communication through the journey. And
Yeah.
obviously part of it is managing that relationship, but a huge part of that relationship is communication. So how does this tool dive into that? How does this play into, customer portals? What are your thoughts on that real quick?
Yeah, that is the ultimate like like I guess grand prize of the CRM and what that does for you. Because we all know communication is key, especially when you're going through either a renovation project, right? And you're trying to get in contact with, the crew that's working it, or if you're a builder to try to find out what's going on from your super. So that's where you can leverage the CRM to truly be that point of communication with you. We can connect it to your project management system. So if something gets checked off that Gantt chart, it's going to automatically send an email to the customer to say, hey, Tom, hey, we just finished this step. Here's what's next in the process. So it's a little bit of forward thinking when you set these up, because you have to realize, like, what points do I want to tell my customer important information? So it's always good to outline it.
That's good.
But if someone fills out a form on your website, let's send them an email right away that says, hey, we received your lead. We received your, inquiry. We're going to take a look at it and respond back to you within XYZ. Give them that promise so that they know what to expect from you.
Yeah.
Because we all hate when we fill something out. We're like, I filled this out at 2 a.m. Why didn't they get back to me?
Right. Yeah.
Why are you filling out forms at 2 a.m. for one?
You should be sleeping.
Yeah. You should be sleeping.
Yeah.
But it just sets clear expectations with the buyer. And that's the most important thing. There's that dark stage sometimes after contract is signed, and whether you're building or you're in the remodeling space, like, a lot of times it makes the buyer just feel like a transaction. And we don't want that. We want the buyers to be happy with us. So they come back and they tell all their friends. And next thing you know, now we've got this huge pipeline of people that want to work with us.
Yeah.
So
it's good. It's good. All right. I want to transition as we close out here to a section that I've deemed if you could. So I like to ask a lot of what if questions. So I got a couple questions for you here regarding if you could, and they all stem around technology, because I know it's a passion of yours. So we'll start off with this first one. If you could have one piece of tech in your life, only one, what would it be?
I don't even have to think about that. It's voice assistant.
Oh,
I love voice assistant. I'm not going to say it right now as I have devices around, right? But like, to say, hey, what's the weather like outside? Sweet. Now I know, hey, play this song, converting something. How many millimeters is this in inches, right? Like, it's so great to have that quick. I can just have the answer respond to me. Voice assistant. I cannot live without that anymore.
I'm impressed. It's something that I think we take for granted, Yeah. Because it's been around for a while, but that's a great answer. I love that.
I just think that's probably what I use the most. Like, I think I'm always talking to my devices, just trying to get some quick information.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, that's good.
What's the score of the game?
Right. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So this next one could be painful.
Feather there or something.
Oh, it's okay. You should just tell your assistant, hey, assistant, please take care of this feather. This is the robot uprising now that's taking over, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This next one could be painful.
Ooh,
I hope it's not, but if you could have invested in one tech company years ago, which one would it have been?
Netflix.
Netflix. Okay.
Netflix. And so I remember being a Netflix user when it was DVDs in my dorm room.
Yeah.
Right? And I went to a small college town that didn't have a Netflix. So it was a process to rent the DVDs, have to give them back to my parents. Like, when I went home and visited, otherwise they'd be late. Right. And I remember having a conversation with, I was part of the student athletic advisory committee. Right. So one of the things that we were trying to do was athletes were trying to bring in more money to the school. And one of the things I was like, we should get a red box machine. We should bring it here, put it on campus. Right. And students would be able to get DVDs.
Love it.
It was a little pricier back then. We don't have the budget for that.
Yeah.
But then I remember, as I look at the numbers now, it looked at something stupid. If you invested $1,000 in Netflix in 2011.
Okay.
So the share price was $15, right?
Yeah.
Today it would be over $40,000. So it's it's just one of those things where it's I saw the value of Netflix.
Yeah.
but I just didn't do anything about it.
Yeah. I'm going to date myself here. I joined Netflix as a DVD and then a Blu-ray subscriber back in the year 2007. And
Man,
I share that pain of not investing earlier.
So I kind of mixed Redbox and Netflix there together.
Yeah.
But like it was the same concept, like, right? Get the DVDs. Oh man, I know.
Yeah.
Aging ourselves there.
Exactly. So the younger listeners are like, what's a DVD?
Wait, yeah, what? Yeah, right?
Yeah. All right, great. Last question for you. If you could have anything automated, we talked about automation earlier in the podcast. Obviously, it's a huge time saver. So if you could have anything automated, what would it be?
Well, it's got to tie into my voice assistant somehow.
Okay.
I can't live without the voice assistant, so it's got to tie in. I think of I'm going to date myself again, but the Jetsons with the menulator, when they could say, "I want a sub sandwich," and he clicks the button and out pops a sub sandwich.
Yeah.
I think if I could go there and have something that just does my meals for me, I think that would be awesome.
I'm
really
awesome.
feeling a pizza right now.
Right. Boom.
Give me a pizza. Yeah.
That's good. There's something there to it because we're starting to see some like robot technology in restaurants. I'm sure maybe you've seen it. If not, check the show notes. We'll put a link into a couple of videos that I've found recently. Like McDonald's just launched their first like takeout drive-through only place where it has no humans on the inside. It's got machines doing all the cooking and things like that. So I think I think you're onto something here, Tyler. I think there could be a version soon of our future where we're pushing a button and we're getting, push button, get food.
So we went bowling the other day and we ordered our food. We ordered it at the counter, right?
Sure.
So like normal. So you're like, hey, we want this, this, and this. And we came back. She's like, all right, we'll bring it out here when it's ready. As we were bowling, we turned around and there was the robot, coming out, like moving. It knew our exact table location. It knew what we ordered and delivered our food. And we took our food and you have to hit the button to send back. But I'm like, we are in the Jetson world, right?
Yes, this is Rosie.
Where's the hidden camera?
She's out here delivering the food for us now. Yeah,
it was just amazing to see, like in a bowling alley in Noblesville, Indiana, that they were grasping this technology to think, hey, once again, let's work, smarter and not harder. And do more by doing less and having robots deliver our food for us.
Yeah. There's something there. It ties all right back nicely to the CRM conversation, right?
That's right. Now they know what Tyler Stouder ordered at that bowling alley. So I didn't give them my email address, but if I gave them my email address, right, great opportunity for them to send me a coupon for my next pizza there, right?
That's right.
So it's the whole 360.
Exactly. It all comes back together. Man, Tyler, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all about your knowledge of CRM and talking about automations. Obviously, they save a lot of time. Again, just want to remind our audience, those action steps, if you are looking to get started, I know you had 3 of them, Tyler. Can you run through them really fast again for us?
Yeah, so I think it's taking a look internally. Is this something that you want to do? Are you going to be able to commit to it, right? So are you going to be able to commit to it? I think the second thing is it easy? Am I going to have to spend, all the time and day? Am I have to hire, a whole team of people to use it? And the last thing I think is looking at your current systems, your current software that you already are using, and can that integrate with my CRM?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler, again, for coming on. Don't forget to take those action items today if you're listening. Don't forget to check out our show notes. You can find those at thebuildersboard.com/podcast, or wherever you listen to your podcast. You can click the link in the description and that should take you there. Again, want to give a huge shout out to Tyler, our guest. We had a great time talking. And Tyler, we'll have to have you back on to talk about more technology because we could just probably nerd out here for hours. So
That's true. That's right. You're right.
All right. Well, thanks so much again for coming on, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to the Builders Board podcast. Please don't forget to rate and subscribe to the show. You can find this episode's action item and a link to the show notes in the description for this episode. We hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next time on the Builders Board podcast.